Jacob.
And we're going for a drive. '23 Nissan Ariya
Evolve Plus front-wheel drive.
You can interrupt the voice prompt and give a command immediately by pushing the talk switch. Say phone, navigation, audio, information, vehicle, or EV. To see more commands for each category, additional commands are help.
Stop!
That was all right. That was all right. That was all right, power. Front-wheel drive only, this one. Horsepower and torque.
238 horsepower, 221 pound-feet of torque from a 97 kilowatt-hour battery and one electric motor, making this front-wheel drive only. There is an all-wheel drive version. We are not driving that.
And then what would be the total range of this fully charged up?
This one apparently is 465 kilometers, which is very respectable.
When I got this thing up to 100, it's at 500 kilometers, which is more than I would ever need from an electric car.
That's a lot. Considering this is still a small-ish vehicle, it's great.
Okay, and then I want to first talk about looks because, you know, it's the first thing you see when you see a car.
Yeah.
Or when they release it, you see the pictures. We saw the new Tacoma. We haven't driven it, but we saw it.
And it looks great.
I saw the Revuelto in person, and that looks awesome.
Okay, yes.
Does this look good?
It looks okay.
I think this looks better than a lot of other EVs, especially when it's in the gold color. I'm sick of this cement color. We all know that.
That's what I wanted to say first.
Okay, yeah, but people are still stoked on it.
A cement gray is officially dead. It's on this EV, and just kill off cement gray. But overall, I do think this thing looks pretty decent, especially compared to an ID4. ID4 is hideous, so this went the slightly better route.
Okay, front end still has a white badge, just like the ID4.
Yes.
The V-Motion grille looks cool, though.
Yeah, and then the headlights are like pretty decent looking.
And the best part about the headlights is that when it's turn signals, it's like amber, which is cool. And then when you have your full headlights on, it still looks good.
Yeah, like no real issues with the front end overall design.
And the taillights are cool all the way across. Nothing too crazy. Every EV goes all the way across, but like, it's all right.
What about the exhaust tips?
Oh,
got him!
Let's listen to it from underwater.
So by the way, in reverse, it sounds like a sonar.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
R is actually the hunt for Red October mode.
And then from the side view, the body lines are good. Nothing like crazy, nothing like too sharp, just nice, smooth, decent body lines. And we do have a slopey roof with a chrome thing along the top. And it is a two-tone color option for this one.
And then the wheels are okay. They kind of look very hubcappy, but it does look like you can actually remove the center section of the hubcap.
I really like the look of these wheels. And what would be the Continental recommended tire for a Nissan Ariya?
The Cross Contact LX25.
And then door handles, normal door handles, which is kind of weird for an electric car, right?
And honestly, for a Nissan, they actually feel quality.
All four door handles have the little like button thing so you can open and unlock the door, which is pretty cool.
And I should say that this is the Evolve Plus, which is the highest front wheel drive trim you can get.
Yeah.
Because you can option this out to be more expensive in all-wheel drive. And the craziest part about the front end is that the Nissan badge actually illuminates at night.
That's the craziest part.
For me. Nothing crazy going on.
I think the craziest part is how much better it looks than a Leaf.
Okay,
like they did a good job making an electric looking car.
True.
Okay, do you like this more than the looks of an Ioniq, EV6, Genesis GV60, ID4, any other electric cars?
Nothing except the ID4. The ID4 looks like trash. This looks better than
You like a Bolt EUV more than you like the looks of this?
I think I like a Bolt EUV.
All right, but this look better than an EQS?
Yeah, I kind of like it more than an EQS.
It does have a little bit of EQS-ness to it with like the black front end and stuff, but it's cool. And then the front black part, which used to be the grille, has a cool pattern in there as well that matches the light up pattern on the inside.
Yeah, because this interior actually lights up with ambient lighting, which looks kind of cool, but at the same time kind of just looks like a bug zapper to me.
Then moving on to the interior, it is very different than normal Nissan stuff.
Yes, it's actually kind of nice.
It looks very nice, not very usable. And that's kind of okay because it's an electric-y car. They got to make it look fancy. They got to make it look impressive. And by doing so, they make it hard to use. Like, first thing I've noticed, your climate control. It is built into this dashboard, which is cool.
It's wood-ish.
It is cool looking. It's the way it's blended in, but it's hard to use and annoying.
Yeah, because it's all touch buttons with some haptic feedback.
Yeah, and then we got a volume knob, which is cool, but then like an up-down tuning thing. So like, Yeah, it's hard to use, but good. And then we got haptic buttons for our e-step and drive mode, which we'll talk about later, which is also difficult to use, but also looks cool.
And then our shifter is also interesting, kind of
well,
weird.
Well, they got Pathfinders like that and Rogue is like that.
I know, but
so it's like normal Nissan now.
A little weird.
And then we've got the full all the way across style infotainment screen / gauge cluster. But what they did weird about this, like, I mean, it's got a cool like swoop like this.
Well, that's the problem with it.
It looks cool, but then they've got the infotainment screen like behind, like pretty deep. So wherever you click, you actually click like a centimeter before you get to the screen.
So basically what's happening is your main gauge display where your steering wheel is looks crystal clear because the glass portion in front of the actual display is very close to the glass, whereas the one that kind of swoops over to the infotainment section seems like it's almost an inch away, so it actually makes everything look a little bit blurry on this side.
But it is a cool looking thing compared to regular Nissan stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Considering like the Micra and other things,
I know,
like,
and
it's cool.
Honestly, if they left it a little far back, it would be even easier to use because there's no real section to rest your thumb on or anything like that.
Yeah, that is true. But we do have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, wireless, all that good stuff. Wireless charger. We have a plug for it down here in this center stack.
Let me just reach for that and get it for you.
Yeah, okay, so every time I get into the car, it falls down and I have to reach down, which is one of my annoyances. But this whole center thing, you can move it back, which is kind of stupid. I don't like see the reason behind it.
That's okay. Like you get in your perfect elbow position.
I guess. It's just like a cool gimmick. But
it
then
is a
like,
gimmick.
It gets back into like the rear passenger area.
Yes. But the cool thing about this whole sliding console and just the general interior in the front over here is that we don't really have any section in the middle down here, kind of like a Hyundai Ioniq, so it feels very spacious. And if you did want to cover all this with a set of TuxMat, I would highly recommend it. They are coming soon. Go to tuxmat.com/TheStraightPipes to see what they have for your car.
Okay, and other stuff. We've got a cool like gold bronze line. Like that's nice, subtle.
I actually love this, the satin gold or whatever. I'm going with satin gold.
Do you mind like the material of all the panels and stuff?
No, honestly, everything feels quite premium. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna lie. Like
fine.
all the touch points where my elbows are and all that stuff, it feels totally fine.
Say something about the leather.
Leather daddy? Oh, is there such a thing?
I mean,
You don't have to. Okay, and then our gauge cluster, we can change the meter modes. We don't have like all the crazy modes from the other Nissans, but if we click it, we can have it like all laid out this way where you can see your regen differently. It is a good amount of like change for an electric car.
But I love that you just have like the 2 meter displays on it looks like a tack.
Yeah, and then our infotainment, if we click home, like we've got these like weird icons. It's kind of laggy and it's like not like the best, and it's not like the best graphic design. Like it's kind of cluttery and hard to read.
Yeah, that's where the real Nissan stuff comes through.
Yeah. And I can't find a thing that like shows my distribution and how much like voltage I'm using or how much energy I'm using at a certain time. And even while charging, I couldn't find anywhere that told me how much like kilowatt I'm actually pulling at a certain time.
Right. You'd probably have to get that through the app or something like that.
Yeah, so it's like a little cluttery and like confusing. It's not like the best graphic design, but they are like carrying over stuff from normal Nissan. They're not like fully redoing the whole thing, so you can't really blame them. There's probably like a huge conflict internally trying to do whatever they wanted.
But the cool thing is, and they made it so simple, is that you can actually see the battery percentage at all times in your gauge display, as well as the remaining kilometers. They don't make it confusing or just don't have a battery percentage like some other manufacturers.
Yeah, like 100%. Easy to understand for that.
Should we talk about charging real quick?
So it turns out in Canada, they still charge you by the minute instead of by the kilowatt hour because they haven't switched over that because it makes them more money. So I charged on a 350 and a 150, and to get the same amount of power in like the same amount of minutes, one cost me like $2.80 and the other cost me $1.08.
Right, which you were charging at the exact same rate, around 30 kilowatts.
Yep.
But because the other one was charging you more, because the station was working correctly, you got billed higher.
And then while we were doing that, we realized that it doesn't charge you until the first minute happens.
Yeah.
So we unplugged it at 50 seconds and it charged 0. So all you have to do is, until they switch to kilowatt hour, which they're never going to do because they know they can make more money until now, is you plug in, unplug after 50 seconds, then plug in and unplug after 50 seconds, do that 10 times and you got 10 minutes of free electric charging.
Well, less than 10 minutes because all the hassle, probably 20 minutes because you have to enable it, do that.
9 minutes worth of kilowatts hours.
Exactly. And you actually theoretically make money because we got minus 18 cents, but we didn't get that back in our bank account.
Shout out Electrify America for working for once and actually not charging us for free electricity.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
There you go.
Here I am, Hamilton at a Canadian Tire, 9 in the morning on the long weekend, and we got another guy charging already. What the heck? Yo, good thing he bought the Taycan, or the whatever, e-tron, so he can get 72 at a 350, and I'm about to slow him down even more. Let's go, baby. Let's get those numbers down. Okay, I guess it's free today. I'm rocking 110 right now. And the guy who is charging at 71 is still at 75 on the 350. While I'm on the 150? What? But this isn't like a super fast charge kind of car.
No, it's not 800 volt or anything like that. So it's medium charge fast at this point.
And unlike a Leaf, it's on the side, it's not on the front.
Yeah, okay.
And it's not Chademo. R.I.P. Chademo.
R.I.P.
All right, Jacob's turn to drive, and we'll talk about some handling and some comfort.
Horsepowers, torques, launch control.
Seat room.
Launch control. EV system hot, power reduced, drive slowly.
Okay, let off, see what happens.
Okay.
I feel like that was exactly the same as...
Yeah.
Oh.
You can interrupt the voice prompt and give a command immediately.
Why does this do this every time we launch it? We didn't even say Nissan.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hang on, let's just try and launch it again and see if it won't talk this time.
Canceling voice recognition.
Okay.
I probably said Nissan.
No, see? I didn't hit it with my hands. Anyways, power's okay. Totally fine for a car like this. I don't really need more in an EV.
Oh, it's great EV power.
I'm totally fine with this amount of power. It doesn't feel slow like the ID4 did. This is actually just great. Like,
and no pumped-in audio either, which is nice.
Nothing. It's relatively quiet in here, other than a lot of wind noise that I've noticed.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's still Nissan.
Yeah.
I mean, it is. Like,
it definitely is a Nissan. But now that I'm in the driver's seat, I do want to mention when I was in the passenger seat, I actually had ample leg room with your car seat behind me.
Yo, shout out the Britax Click Tight.
Yeah, so this is actually a pretty big car in here. I have no complaints about the interior space. I fit behind myself in the back as well.
Yeah, and front seats are nice and comfortable. And then there's like a ton of room in the trunk as well. Like you probably fit a big stroller in there. And we got the close and lock buttons up there.
Yeah, so I mean, ergonomically and functionally, this thing's actually pretty good.
Yeah, I was surprised.
Yeah, I know.
Because like that Bolt EUV, I'm like, this isn't really a EUV, but this is like totally. And I can see why someone would like pick this over maybe an Ioniq, which I think has less room in the trunk.
Yeah, but I personally wouldn't, but I would take this over an ID4 because look, we have 4 window switches for 4 windows.
Wow.
Not 2 window switches for 4 windows.
That's revolutionary. Yo,
isn't it?
Is that a volume knob? What? Yo, I bet you our climate's illuminated at night too.
Dude, it's illuminated during the day basically.
That's crazy.
Mind-blowing. Okay, so let's get into these drive modes. I gotta reach back here unless I move the center console all the way forward, which actually does help me reach the drive mode button.
So the drive modes this has is standard, eco, and sport. And no matter what you leave it in, it's always gonna start back in standard, so it won't just start in eco again.
And I really like standard because it feels the most natural in terms of an EV/gas car, because it gives you that kind of, when you let off the gas or accelerator, you kind of get like a little bit of regen, not much.
Yeah, and then you can get a little bit more if you put it to your drive mode to be, but if you put your
shifter
mode, but if you put your drive mode to eco, then you get no regen, it's just coasting.
Yeah, so I'm gonna put it into eco right now, and I'm just coasting. It actually feels pretty nice.
And then say you're coming up to a red light, you could go like this, and then this is like, instead of having a paddle, you can slow down with this. This is not going to break over time.
No. And I definitely wouldn't use it for anything like that. And then there's also a third mode called, well, fourth mode, E-Step, where E-Step is kind of one pedal driving, but not actually coming to a complete stop for some reason, which is really weird.
So here, E-Step on, and the pedal moves itself. And if you hit the gas, the brake pedal will remove itself.
Oh, I can already see it lifting.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
Because it won't come to a full stop. And
it's lifting.
Yeah. Because you've gotten to the point where it's not going to come to a full stop. And the reason it does that is because they wanted this to be like a transition for people to get out of gas cars into this. And they think that full coming to a stop might be too confusing for those people.
You know what I find more confusing? My brake pedal varying how much braking I'm getting without me knowing that it's varying my braking.
But here's the thing is, with this system, it only does that when you're letting off the throttle. So your foot's never on the brake pedal, and then it starts doing that, like barely ever, right?
Well, this brake pedal feels like trash to me because it's very spongy, and I never know how much braking I'm gonna get. Like, this is a deal breaker for me.
Okay,
it's actual garbage.
Okay, come to a full stop.
I did. Oh yeah, that yeah.
Now do it like a little, just a little softer.
Okay.
It moves like this a whole bunch.
The car literally, it feels like we're in a boat. Like it rocks back and forth nonstop.
Yeah, but it is like a soft ride. It's like nice and bouncy.
Yeah, I'll get to that through Cliche Corner, but overall daily driving, it's actually acceptable. It's pretty soft. It's not as bouncy as some EVs have been.
And then for drive modes, like if you were buying this for a family member who like isn't techie and doesn't want to figure all this stuff out, I would suggest keeping it in standard mode, keeping it in drive, keeping E-step off, and then it'll just be the most normal version of this car possible.
So literally the mode that it starts in.
As long as the last person didn't have E-step on when they turned on the car.
Oh, because E-step stays on with...
I think so.
Okay, we're gonna find out right now. E-step is on. We're in normal.
You're in Eco. Go to Eco.
We're in standard. Okay.
Go to Eco.
Shut the car off.
Get out. Or should we have to? Do we have to like lock it with the key fob? Oh, that's a full reset.
That's full.
Yes, E-step's back on.
Standard E-step. Yeah. So just don't touch E-step.
Yeah, that is my professional opinion.
Okay. Next thing I'd like to talk about is the steering wheel. The steering feel is very light. Like, this thing moves like crazy. It's good and bad because it's nice and light, but the smallest amount of input does give you an actual output.
It's too light.
Yes.
In my opinion.
It's definitely heavily overboosted, and not my favorite.
But what's cool is you get the cool adaptive cruise and all that stuff, which works really well on the highway.
The Nissan 360 stuff or whatever.
Yeah, the one with the blue circles around it.
The blue button. Pro Pilot Assist. Okay, bump into Cliche Corner. Totally fine. Obviously no adaptive dampers or anything like that. Turn in is...
You got traction on it right now, I think.
Yeah, that's fine. I needed to reel me in here. It's got so much power. Oh yeah, just toss it in like a front wheel drive car, just staying on throttle. It's actually not bad at all.
It's actually, it rotates well with the traction on. When you have traction off, you can get it to like not that you're ever gonna do that.
Yeah, it'll understeer.
But you can like do lift off, oversteer, and it'll like pull itself around. Like, it is not the worst, but I think every electric car is good through Cliche Corner, so like whatever.
They're all just like mediocre, but not in a bad way. It's just like, okay.
Yeah. So now a few more things to top it off. We've got 2 glove boxes here. Very impressive. We've got 2 cup holders, which will fit a small cup just fine. And then we've got these 2 things to block the sun. 3, 2, 1.
Full pass. It says sliding visor on it.
And we got a nice big moonroof. I think that's pretty much everything with it, right?
I think so.
Time to get to the price.
$65,948.
Okay, that's kind of a lot.
That is a lot, and that's where this car completely falls apart for me, because you can get a Hyundai Ioniq top trim all-wheel drive for that amount of money, and actually I think slightly less.
I do have a friend who has one, and he was complaining about getting stranded, and he's trying to get rid of his Ioniq 5 because he hates it.
Oh, because they have a 12-volt battery issue or whatever?
He says he's trying to figure out some 12-volt battery. He says not for sure. They don't know yet. Everyone's in the forums.
Okay.
He said there was one person in the forums messaging who was stopped at the side of the road, stranded, trying to figure it out for other people too.
Well, I guess all EVs have their problems because they're all new.
I don't know what the actual thing is, but he was telling me he's sick of his Ioniq 5.
So if you are shopping for an Ioniq 5 or one of these, or maybe an ID4, go to tsp.truecar.com for discounted price offers.
Yeah, do you think this is like middle of the road current electric car? Like, it's not the worst, it's not the best,
yeah,
but it's fine?
I would put it like near the bottom, but not because it has done anything wrong. It's just not anything like that great.
Yeah, you know what I would like is if they got rid of all the fanciness in here, made it like a regular, normal, like Pathfinder interior or Rogue interior, and then made it cheaper.
So like a Leaf.
Maybe. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to subscribe. We do electric car reviews, fast car reviews, comparisons, all kinds of good stuff.
Yes, and follow us on Instagram because it's fun.
Yeah, that's where we post lawn content.
Yes, and car content.
And barbecue content.
And watch content.
But mostly lawn content.
And mostly car content.
I don't post mostly car content.
I only post car content.